Hi,
All right.
the meeting of the South San Francisco Parking Place Commission for Tuesday, January 11, 2022 will please come to order at 5 o'clock, 5 minutes. Can I have a roll call, please?
Certainly. Chair Abarca,
Here.
Vice Chair Monzon,
Here.
and Commissioner Malfatti.
Present.
All present and accounted for.
Agenda review, are there any changes to the agenda?
Not from staff's side.
Okay. Are there any public comments?
As of 5 p.m. today, staff has not received any voicemails or emails from anyone in the public wishing to comment on tonight's agenda.
Okay, now we have approval of the regular meeting minutes of December 14, 2021. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes, please?
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes from December.
Okay, can I have a second?
Yes, I'll second.
We have
Approval.
administrative business. This is on you, Chris.
Yes, actually, first administrative business item is sorry, let me go back. Did you want to vote on the approval of the meeting minutes?
Oh, yeah, we should
Let's do
vote.
that.
Sorry about it.
Yeah,
Can
I'll
I
take
have a
roll.
vote?
Yep, Chair Abarca,
Yes.
Vice Chair Monzon,
Yes.
and Commissioner Malfatti. Commissioner Malfatti?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you
there
hear
we
me? Oh,
Yep.
okay. Sorry.
go. All right, so back at the regular meeting agenda. So as required to by code, every first meeting of the year, we are going to do our reorganization. So I just wanted to thank Chair Abarca for serving in 2021. And now we'll move on with Vice Chair Monzon, typically moving up to the chair unless there's a nomination for chair against Vice Chair Monzon. And then we'll rotate and see who wants to take vice chair for the upcoming year.
I will propose Jolene to be the chair.
Chair, not
Well, thank you, Hermes.
I think you've been a while that I think you've been a chair when I joined. So how come I'm second time you haven't been there?
Oh yeah, I've done that several times. But it would really be great if you would rotate in order to be the chairperson, Hermes. So I nominate
up to
Hermes
you,
Monzon.
Hermes. Your turn.
Okay. All right. We'll do it.
okay. So we'll go with Chair Monzon and Vice Chair Malfatti.
Jolene.
Okay.
You
Did
have
all
escaped.
vote on that? Yeah. Okay. Congratulations on the new positions for this year. All right. Second item. So second item is just to continue the conversation we had last time about the potential for parking rate changes into this coming year. So as part of your packets, we didn't have some background information that we owed you, so we wanted to make sure that you had that. So if you could, so what I included in your packets was the 2017 parking rate policy that was approved by the Parking Place Commission. So I have only been on this for a couple of years, so I wasn't aware of these policies, but so in reviewing them, that's something that the Parking Place Commission had previously approved. And also in 2019, we had the Parking Place Commission approve a set of parking rate changes then. So we wanted to just have this discussion with the commission on this parking rate policy. And if there are any specific questions about it, we do have staff on the line if we need further discussions about that one or questions.
I would like to start that, like I said before, I'm a little bit concerned that our funds on the Parking Place Commission is not being clear, at least to my understanding. Like we all have checkbooks at our homes. We try to be mindful of what we expend and what is coming in. So I would like to, whatever I do, I try to apply the same concept as my personal spend and income with the same mindset. I would like to see our commission being like, what is the funds and how it's being spent. And also now I know there is the importance of incremental rate, but I think we, along with the rate, we need to know where the money was spent, where the money is going to be spent before we just keep approving, because we have to have a check and balance. So I like to suggest that we need to be clear on that. I don't want to be focused like, let's increase the rate, but without actually knowing why we're increasing the rate and how we're going to increase the rate. And I want to make a good example. We try to help the businesses on Christmas. And since I myself, I was a little bit turned off of what was happening, and I was on site that day, I was not on my computer. It was hard for me to concentrate. So I didn't understand clearly what we were, the days, right? So when I replied, I asked the staff, and I was replied that the fee waiver was only for the Christmas and Christmas Eve and New Year's, which is great. However, when I was in downtown, some people were putting the meters on those days, right? So then I realized, oh, okay. So I thought it was also on the meters. But then when Tony Rossi said, no, it's only on the meter garage. So it's a common sense. We're trying to help the businesses, but the people are not aware of that we're having this incentive for people to come and spend and shop in downtown. So to me, I don't know how we were helping them, the business. That is one. And the other one is, we struggle to give them 2 or 3 days to help the businesses. However, on the other end, we don't have accountability on some parking meters that we're losing as of today. For example, on 400 Linden, which I requested many meetings ago, that I'm still trying to reach or looking for your help to reach Mr. Omar Galvan. I left a message, I sent an email to talk about traffic and safety and parking meters on 400 Linden. I haven't got any response. But today I just want to mention about the meters. So as far as I remember, you, Christopher, having asked the commission that the meters on the 400 Linden were going to be removed. So there are about 5 or 6 meters that were removed. They're no longer on the street, and they're being using as a storage. So who is accountable for that? Are this company, the developer, paying the monthly fee for those? If so, we would like to see it, please. And we haven't been asked. So I'm a little bit concerned that we are trying to increase the rate, and I will connect this one, but we are not diligent of what is happening with the system. And alongside is the sublets. The sublets also, the parklets. The parklets, we asked before, quite a few of those have no use anymore on Grand Avenue, taking parking meter spaces. Who is paying for that? So I'm I'm trying to make a sense here. We're going to increment the rate. Let's just say we started on February, we have new rates, but we're not mindful of what we have existing on our parking meters today. Let's stop right there. I'll stop right there.
Okay. Other folks have any comments they want to share?
Chris, was the city going to do kind of a survey on those parklets and see how many are still being utilized and if the businesses still wanted them? I thought that's what they were going to do at one point in time, but.
Right. Let's take it one issue at a time. Like for the parklets, that's something that we are actively working with the businesses and making sure that they do use it. Again, it becomes a seasonal type of use, and you know that we're always in that situation where businesses aren't always able to throw down $8,000 to $10,000 to install a platform, right? So, but just because we're in the winter time, so of course you do get that, you know, usage has not been as frequent as, you know, earlier in the year. We have reached out to several businesses, especially the ones on Grand. There's a couple of them right there that we're done looking at. So that's something that we're working with our public works team to kind of either use it or begin the process to remove that, and we'll revert it back to parking spaces. We do have a few that are opting out as of like today. Like there's one on Baden that we installed, and I just don't believe they're getting enough foot traffic there. So they have, you know, they have reached out to say that, you know, how do we, you know, we want to get rid of this space. And then a couple of those, like the one right there at Grand and Linden, and the one in the middle block of, I think 300 block of Grand, that we're done. Like they haven't used it properly. I think there's some maintenance issues. Those we're just gonna go after. So we're actually coming up to that point where we'll have very few of them left. But again, it's that, you know, that's a pandemic response that City Council had authorized us to pursue, but we are now moving into a program where we do want, you know, one, for them to pay for an outdoor seating permit, and two, to figure out what we can charge for the meters that they are occupying or the parking spaces that they are occupying. So that's something we are developing and we're rolling out in the next, you know, give or take 2 months. But for the ones that are in immediate need of correction, we're working on getting those out of there. So that's yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you for the information.
Sure. Just jumping back to like the parking meters being occupied by 400 Linden. So there is a separate process. I was educated on this. So I do want to apologize if Omar has not reached out to you. It was Adina, in my understanding, that you know that they have heard the request. We do have a code enforcement person working to make sure that they ensure, you know, that like any signage that they're going to put up, directional signage and things like that, that is, you know, up and being enforced. So I can't for the life of me figure out why Omar has not responded to you, and we will make sure that you get a response from him. So with regards to construction related meter usage, they do not, there is a separate process for construction projects to pay directly to the finance department to basically pay for those meters. That's not something that's typical that we act on as the Parking Place Commission, you know, so it's not something that we bring, that's not a normal item that we bring forward to the commission for approval, because then that would mean that every construction project that might be taking up meters would have to then come through the commission. So that we I think it's a matter of like whether that's in the purview of the commission or not. So the commission's purview is to set rates, increase and decreases in parking meter rates, but not specifically meter A and meter B on street A or street B. Okay.
To the chair, this is Tony Razzi with planning. If there's no further comments, I'm happy to chime in a little bit.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt. Thanks, Chair Barca, Vice Chair Hermes, and Member Malfatti. I think Vice Chair Hermes' comments are totally fair, right? The parking districts, the Parking Place Commission is purview is to make sure the district affairs operate correctly, and so I think there's real value in making sure that we share regular quarterly fiscal updates with you. And Chris and Dina have been trying to do that, and I hope that has been helpful getting those reports from the finance department. I want to continue doing that for you all. The way the city and administration of funds is set up, however, it is the purview of the city council how funds are spent. So just sort of be aware of that the money in the parking district is certainly still allocated and spent according to city council priorities. But I think and I hope that those priorities are broadly in line with the best interests of the city. And right now, per our parking study several years ago, we recognize there's a gap in future parking demand based on commercial growth and popularity of our downtown. And those new spaces need to go somewhere. And as you recall from the summary at the last meeting by Julie Barnard and Heather Ruiz, the city council identified 2 locations they were interested in evaluating parking structures. Well, 3 really. The annex, a space on Baden, and then the location at Miller and Cypress. And they identified the Miller Cypress as their preferred alternative, and then tasked staff with continuing to study and design that. And that's part of the reason we wanted to bring the update to you all last month for, just a heads up. I know you were aware of the city council meetings and perhaps their actions, but I think it was an important topic for us to return to and report on. So knowing that the preference now is for the location at Cypress and Miller, we've been tasked with, over the next 2 years, finding a path forward to increase meter rates so that there is a larger bonding capacity for the city to fund this new parking structure. And so we are not in an immense hurry. And I think it was really helpful that Chris put forth really our existing policies that we have in place as a starting point for discussing how meters can be increased on a rate basis, how permits in the structure can be increased. And so I really am hopeful that as a team, the commission and staff can look at our existing policy and sort of debate or collaborate on what we think is the right path forward, where we're not raising rates too fast that it's overwhelming the community, but we're maybe getting to some of these milestones we need over the next 2 years, so that when we're ready to go out and fund this new parking structure that we know is needed, we'll be in a position to do it effectively. So that's kind of the big picture conversation that I think we want to continue having with you, if not tonight, at the next meeting as well. But I know there's a lot of information in that parking policy, and I want you to have some time, bounce off questions with us, so we collectively can figure out a path forward that works. So I'll leave it at that. Happy to answer any questions based on my really long comment there.
Okay, if I am understanding you good, it's mean that we are good here for raising the prices of the parking structure, but we don't have absolutely nothing to say how the money will be spent, because like that the city will tell us. We are good to make the bad work, like they say, oh, the commission approved the raising the price of the meters, but actually we don't have any power to say how the money will be spent later on. Did I understand you good? The other one is like you told me that we are not any hurry. I think that we are in the big hurry because we don't have where to park in the center of the city. Like there is really not enough parking spaces. I think that say that we are not hurry, it's like a misunderstanding. Like there is no parking. It will be even less parking when the people have supposed to, where they have occupied the new building, will start to moving in. There will not. I think that we are in a pretty big hurry to start to building something. This is my point only.
No, thank you, Chair. On your first point, you're correct. My understanding is that our role, the Parking Place Commission, is to set meter rates per an approved range by City Council. On your second point, though, I think I'm misunderstood. We're certainly excited and enthusiastic and working right now to design the new parking structure, and that is happening. And I think that's great because we know there is demand and need. We are not in a massive hurry as far as increasing the meter rates every month, month over month, and shell shocking the community if that's how you feel. But we do need to get to the maximum meter rates that have been approved by City Council within the next 2 years, because that's when we expect to go out for bonding and financing for the parking structure. So not in a hurry on the rate increase, but certainly enthusiastically pursuing the new structure right
I would like to make a comment. I did ask several years ago about the bylaws. So I understand that we are here for the rates, but I haven't get the bylaws for many years. So is the municipal code that we go by. But I did join this commission to be a bridge between the community and the city, to be helpful, to support. I didn't join to complain. I did join to work. So for me to rubber stamp something is very hard as a person, right? I don't do that at my work. I had to check and balance. I had to give results. So if we do ask for certain things, as this, we thank you for being able to listen to us, to bend, because you might see 3 people here, but we represent a lot of people in the community. They don't have the time and the energy to be here tonight. So thank you for being kind on your words. However, we need to be asking. For example, it doesn't make sense to me to increase a rate for a parking lot and don't talk about the maintenance of the parking lot or the meters. It has to go by hand, right? And then the other one is, I have a question for you, Tony. So the old fire station that was not allocated for the 226 spaces back in 2016, now this corner of lot 13 that seems to me much smaller how is going to make it fit?
I apologize, Vice Chair. I didn't understand. I didn't hear the last part of your question. How will it make what?
Okay, so if you recall, the old fire station on Baden, lot number 18, that was considered, we suggested, when I was, before we had this, you and Christopher, we suggest that that should be the parking, the second building garage. And strongly, the city and the council members reply back and say that that was not big enough to allocate the spaces needed. And because that plan didn't go through. So if I remember well, that's the lot number 13, Miller and Cypress, is much smaller physically. How is going to be feasible to make it happen?
The design imagines mechanical stacking on that plot. And I think that is how they, the designers that the city is contracted with would add a reasonable number of spaces.
And what is the target? We all familiar with that area. So let's just picture that the structure is already in place. How is going to benefit? What are we trying to achieve with this goal? Are we trying to achieve businesses to have visitors? Are we trying to achieve other tourists? Are we going to achieve people that will work in the peninsula of San Francisco and park here, going to the airport? Or we're going to benefit the new building around it? Can you elaborate a little bit?
Sure, good question. The intention is to cover parking demand growth for commercial businesses, whether those are customers or additional employees as businesses grow. It is also about focusing parking, at a reasonably accessible location, which I think is why the council picked this spot. It really isn't intended to be parking for anyone who's going to park there more than 72 hours, and that is monitored and administered by our parking enforcement. So I would hope that it is not long-term parking for the airport, and we at least have a good tool to ticket and tow if necessary.
So let me just exercise this question. So when all the building around it, all the construction happening in the next 5 years, and we have the building garage, so there will not be monthly parking on that structure. Because if I live on that one of those buildings and there is no room on those projects, I can park there monthly, right? So I get the benefit of that, but how we can use it for the rest of the businesses.
Just to kind of clarify, for a lot of the residential projects that have been going through like planning commission, going through approvals, for the most part, a lot of those projects are parked one-to-one. Like I think we might have covered that in a previous meeting, that the intent was that they are self-parked, like that it would diminish the need for any of those residents in those new buildings to come out and occupy. Like if there are monthly parking spaces available, that it's not really meant for them, because they have parking in their own building. So that, I just wanted to kind of make that distinction, that at least for my history of projects, that's been
One car for apartment.
Mhm.
It's not
Right,
enough. It's not enough. I'm sorry. I'm still saying that one car for apartment, it's not enough. If there will be living 2 adults or 2, 3, 4 adults, like a one car will not be enough. Do you know what? I don't know where you live, but I live in the apartment building, where is 7 apartments.
Mhm.
Honestly, there is not enough parking spot. Everybody have like 2 parking garages for each apartment. There is still not enough parking spot. We are still parking on the street. There is still not enough spot. It's mean that like telling me that one garage for one apartment will be enough. Honestly, I don't know where you're living, people, because it's definitely not, maybe you are living alone, or maybe you think that you will still living alone. It's mean that your one car will be enough, but if you will have husband or wife, 2 kids, it's not enough. This is only my point. Like
Just-
everybody needs to see it, that it's not enough if you have more adults in the family.
No, this is a really good conversation. I appreciate the comments, Barca. And we're working through a complicated mixture of finding the right parking standards and development to make sure that we build much needed housing, following the guidance from the state that makes sure we don't have too many limitations on it. A lot of the new projects tend to be self-selecting. They are expensive. The residents who move there are aware that they're only getting one parking spot. And I think pretty aware also that there isn't really any capacity for significant on-street parking. But you're certainly right that there is higher demand for parking throughout South San Francisco than perhaps is available at individual apartments or on the street. With that said, the parking garage is not really intended to be parking for the residents. It's focused on commercial and tourism demand.
I would like to make one more comment. I just to be respectful with everybody's time, because we understand you gotta do your job. But I think at the end of the day, my experience, the city manager is the one that makes the decisions, and the city council. So we can be talking here for 3 hours and it'll just be a talk. Again, just to be respectful with your time. It'd be interesting if you can bring Mike Futrell to the table. One of these days, we can extend our invitation to chat with us in the future meeting, or invite to any of the city council members, whoever, one of the 5 that is willing to have a chat with us. Out of the 5, maybe one of them has interest on parking, whoever it is. We would like to extend the invitation and have a chat with us. This way, our voices could go to the right ear. Mike Futrell and the city council are, they are the ones directing the traffic in the city. So, but please, this is all recorded. This is the voice of the community. And thank you for the explanation that you're giving us to us. But we understand you're doing your job, and we are doing our job as a community member as well. So I would like to extend the invitation to city manager and any of the city council member that has interest on parking and the Parking Place Commission. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Vice Chair. And I think a lot of the council has significant interest in making sure we strike the right balance with parking policies. So certainly a good point. I do want to make a point and recognize the meetings are recorded, that we are going to bring items to you, and I don't want the items held hostage because of your frustrations with what you can and cannot do as a commission. So, we will need to have a conversation about parking rates, and at some point need to have a vote on raising them or not raising them. But I do need the commission to understand that that's a dedicated role that the council has given to you. And I want to make sure that we take action and don't get too derailed talking about policy issues that we can't decide at the Parking Place Commission level. So I want that to be noted and on the record for you all.
Yes, no problem. Completely understood. I took your advice, But this is our only opportunity to check and balance. The rate will be increased probably, but we gotta have, this is an opportunity to make accountable where we're going to spend the money and where we've been spending the money, right? So we will talk, and we are here for that. The rate will be revised, will be voting, no question about that. Thanks for the reminding. But this is our only opportunity to bring up a good point, how we're going to be spending the money, because I mentioned this one before on a different subject. If the commission doesn't have the budget, we'll encounter problems to build it. You just mentioned that we wanna increase the rate to get a bond. But if we would have, let's just dream, we would have 30 million instead of 2.5, that bond will be a lot easier. Perhaps we will not be in a high interest to raise increment the rate. So that is what I'm trying to get the point. So if we were increasing every year and we don't know where to spend the money and we'll be back on the 2.5 million, something is not, I mean, regardless if it's not our purview or the commission, something is not jiving. And furthermore, if I would like to ask you or Christopher to help us to navigate the website, because I was trying to go on the website looking for the minutes for the previous meetings. Maybe I'm looking the wrong way. So if we run out of time tonight, I'm okay. Maybe next meeting, that's fine. But I would like that you walk us through, go to our website, find the minutes, because it should be public and we should be able to access. So far, the three of us, we receive it every meeting, but it needs to be public. And the minutes is there. When I click it, it just doesn't open. I don't know if it was my computer or maybe I'm just going to the different link.
Thanks for alerting us, Chair Monzon. We'll look into like issues with the website, and again, yeah, it's like any other public meeting. Like all our agendas and meeting minutes are available online, and if they're not, we'll make sure to correct that as quickly as possible. Moving forward for our agendas and our meeting minutes, we'll make sure to include a link in it so that that people can access that website. It's a bit weird because we're working with like the city clerk's office to make sure that gets uploaded there rather than like ECD's website where we have a little bit more control. So we'll make sure to get that fixed right away.
And I have one more question for Adina. Adina, are you hiring somebody to help Christopher so he can have all the paperwork, beforehand, or he's still?
Yeah. Oh, well, we have good news, which is that we hired an administrative assistant who started just on Friday, 2 days ago. So she's getting up to speed. She has a very, very great background. We're really happy to have her on hand, and we've been short-staffed for quite some time. So it's really good news.
Thank you. Yeah, because we don't want to burn out, Christopher.
Oh, I'm way past burnout.
Neither do we. We're all worried. But yeah, her name is Christina. She'll probably be attending and helping clerk meetings in the future, and you'll see her face soon.
Thanks.
I think in one of the meetings, we'll make sure we introduce her because we have to formally add her as the clerk.
As the clerk, yeah.
To the commission. So we'll make sure we do that in one of our next couple of meetings.
Okay, any other items from the commission? No. Can I adjourn the meeting?
Yes, please.
Okay, the meeting is now adjourned at 5:44.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Tony.